What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Race. They said the 2019 How to Train Your Dragon will be the last, but is that actually true? Well, some new information just surfaced, and it seems like all of that is to change. The How to Train Your Dragon trilogy has made $1.641 billion in box office revenue, and each of the movies was made with a budget of between $129 and $165 million US. With such relatable characters built into the movie and a storyline so rich, the original author needed 12 volumes to explain it. We're going to say that How to Train Your Dragon is not going to end just like that. Before the third movie was released, the director DeBlois said that the upcoming movie will not only turn How to Train Your Dragon into a trilogy, but it will also be the last installment in the series. However, talking to John Powell, the composer for How to Train Your Dragon 2, revealed that Jeffrey Katzenberg from DreamWorks is planning on doing a fourth installment of the movie. Mind you, this was during the time when they were testing How to Train Your Dragon 2, and they needed to evaluate how it would be received by audiences. Here's what John Powell said to Collider during the interview. I saw Dean in Cannes. We had a premiere of the film there, and he was very merry and a bit drunk, and he sort of knew about How to Train Your Dragon, and I think it was mentioned to him by Jeffrey that maybe they could do 4. And that was definitely, I think, a real kind of eye-opener for Dean and for me, because it's like, hey, I thought this was a trilogy. In fact, Dean said that he was the one to convince Jeffrey Katzenberg, the head of DreamWorks Animations, not to make a fourth How to Train Your Dragon. However, they talked about potential spin-offs coming in the future.
There won't be any dragons left, and it's up to us to put an end to it.
So, what are you going to do about it?
I think I've talked him down from that, said Dean DeBlois. There may be spin-offs to come, but my involvement and my dedication to completing a story that has a reason for being and a strong sense of integrity and 3 chapters, I think is in place and intact. Everybody seems to be in agreement that we're moving in the right direction. A lot has changed since then, and it seems like the spin-off is going to come sooner rather than later. In an interview with Dean DeBlois, he said that the movie would revolve around Hiccup and how his coming of age will finally be complete. But there was another motive for making this movie. For those of you that aren't aware, Cressida Cowell has written a book series comprising 12 volumes. In each of those volumes, she smashes that like button, just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, in each of the books, she describes Toothless, Hiccup, the gang, and all of the remaining dragons as they go on an adventure. However, we know that the story takes place in the past, and the author tells her young readers that the dragons have since then disappeared. They went to some mysterious place and never came back. Well, because the author left this part of the story a mystery, the director thought it would be a really interesting and compelling idea to discuss what happened to the dragons and where they went. From the movie, we know that after the final battle between Hiccup and Grimmel the Grizzly, the most horrifying villain of them all, while he was trying to hunt down the last 2 of the Night Furies remaining in the world, he found it a little difficult considering Hiccup was there to help. After the battle was over, Hiccup realized that Toothless will never be safe in the human world. He bid his farewells to the dragons, and Hiccup led them to the hidden world where they would remain safe from any human hunters.
Oh, sorry.
Did she just disappear?
Even though this gave viewers a detailed explanation of what happened to the dragons, it didn't end there. If they ended the movie here, we would have been sure there would be no more movies in the franchise. However, since the movie ended on somewhat of a cliffhanger, we knew that they had something else in store for us. You see, in the last movie, the movie ends with Hiccup, his wife, and their 2 children sailing on a boat in the middle of the ocean. Hiccup is holding his son in his arms and says, "There were dragons when I was a boy. Oh, there were great, grim sky dragons that nested on the cliff tops like gigantic scary birds. Little brown scuttle dragons that hunted down the mice and rats in well-organized packs. Preposterously huge sea dragons that were 20 times as big as the big blue whale. Some say they crawled back into the sea, leaving not a bone nor a fang for man to remember them by. Others say they were nothing but folk tales to begin with, but I'm okay with that." And just as Hiccup was about to finish his sentence, he looks out to the sea and sees Toothless and Light Fury and their 3 young children. However, Toothless doesn't recognize him at first, and it seems like he's about to attack his best friend. After some careful examination, Toothless recognizes Hiccup. leaps on top of him and starts licking his old buddy. Of course, Hiccup's children are horrified since they've never seen a dragon. Hiccup invites his daughter to hold out her hand and let Toothless press his forehead on the palm of her hand. She does, and the next thing we know, they're soaring through the sky. Hiccup ends the movie by saying, "And we'll guard the secret until the time comes when the dragons can return in peace."
We are no longer safe here. We all have to disappear, completely off the map. We have to fight for their freedom.
So, wait, does this mean that the dragons will return in the future? Does this mean that we will get to see Hiccup and Toothless in a different movie? After the last movie, DreamWorks released How to Train Your Dragon Homecoming, which was some sort of a Christmas special. In it, Toothless and his baby dragons returned as New Burke was getting ready for the holiday season. Now, you try not to take this as a hint. The dragons will return. And until recently, we were unsure about how they were going to do it, but now we know. Peacock and Hulu released a trailer revolving around the dragons from How to Train Your Dragon. It's called Dragons: The Nine Realms, and the story is set to take place in the future. Unlike some of the previous movies that took place in medieval times during the era of the Vikings, this series will take place in the technologically advanced future. To be more precise, the future is 1300 years after the events in the three movies. So it's highly unlikely that we will get to see Hiccup, Toothless, Astrid, or Light Fury in the series, but we will get to see more of Night Fury. Well, not the Night Fury. We will get to see a Night Fury, which we think is probably some of Toothless's great-great-great-nephews based on the color of its skin. The main character of the show is a kid called Tom Cullerson, voiced by Jeremy Shada. He is joined by Jin Wong, voiced by Ashley Liao, and D'Angelo Baker, who is portrayed by Marcus Scribner. Both streaming platforms announced that the dragons will come back as a result of a mile-deep geological rifts in the surface of the Earth. This will be more than enough to cause the dragons to resurface from the hidden world. And while the scientists are studying what caused the strange phenomenon, it seems to us that new kids will befriend the dragons and they will learn to ride them in order to defend the world from the threat lurking in the depths of the Earth. At the end of the teaser trailer, it was announced that the series has been available online since December 23rd. So far, there are 3 seasons out, the first one having only 6 episodes, and the 2 following seasons each coming in with 7 episodes. Season 2 and Season 3 were released on May 5th, 2022 and August 18th, 2022, respectively. So if you want to know more about where the dragons went and what they did, then we suggest watching the new animated series. See you in the next video.